the morning DNA. I am Aaron Dice, the man of single black shirt. She is Danae Says, the woman of a million distractions. Danae Hughes, if you prefer. And we're going to be finding out what the day of March 31st, 2021 is made of. That's right. It's a someday. Welcome.
It's the last day of the someday of the month.
There. I just feel comfortable there. Had to switch our sides.
I didn't realize when we were connecting before the show started that we were on the wrong side, but that's
an interesting psychological thing, right? The discomfort only kicks in once we're live.
I didn't notice it until we were live. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So there's some sort of psychological switch that happens where it's like, no, we're doing a show now. Aaron's supposed to be over there. Danae's supposed to be over there. But if we're just hanging out as friends, who cares?
Who cares? It's a someday. We can do whatever we want. Except for Archimedes says, thanks. I was about to unfollow for that switch.
We've had the season discussion before. We asked in our rocket poll as the show was starting out what your favorite season was. Danae, you're a fall person.
I am. In fact, I'm. Even though it's going to be very warm today, in the mornings it's cool. So I put on my fall gear, and then I change again later because when you work from home, you can have as many outfit changes as you want. Or if you're Aaron, never change your outfit.
Well, I do have a hoodie I'll throw on if it gets a little chilly. I think it's interesting that you're talking about fall gear during the almost spring, but that's okay. That's that I found it interesting. I think it was JCD that was like either spring or fall, and I'm like, okay, look, JCD. When we're talking about favorite seasons, there are 4 choices. You can't pick half the choices in a poll question.
What if it's the cusp between the seasons? Like,
well, there is no cusp between spring and fall.
From fall. Oh, that's true.
And that's why they are very similar. And I also like spring and fall. I would choose spring over fall because it heads into summer, whereas fall heads into winter, and I hate winter. Winter is not my favorite. So
Jose says in Texas, you go through 3 seasons a day, which can happen in Missouri as well. So I can relate to that.
Yeah. It definitely happens.
Says, but I want half the choices.
Nope, you got to pick one.
Fall is the answer. That's super mine as well.
I think we did a study. We asked a couple people in time how that relates to their birthday, because sometimes we noticed with ourselves, like your birthday is in the fall and my birthday's in the spring. And we wondered if perhaps that had an impact on our favorite season. So now I'm curious, after you've chosen your favorite season, how does that relate to your birthday? And the people we asked this, basically we got random, some people
sampling.
some people some people wasn't. It didn't appear to be like extremely consistent, but for most people, it was the same season as their birthday. So it was about 50-50. In the random sampling that we did. So, yeah.
I love Lolly's answer here. Arizona has no seasons, just super hot and dying.
Yes.
Also, Lolly says, birthday tomorrow, but
happy birthday, Lolly.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Lolly. We love you. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Wow. I thought I was still tired. Apparently, I'm super good.
Well, sometimes you get so little sleep that you're actually more exuberant the next day. That's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah? Did you not get much sleep then?
I did not. I can tell you exactly why, and it has to do with sporting events.
Wait. Good? Good or bad?
Bad. Very, very bad. Very bad. Worst case scenario. Now you may think worst case. Well, you know what? That's not true. Obviously, I could think of a worst case, but like worst case common scenario. You may think for a sports fan, worst case scenario would be your team gets blown out in a game. In an important game or a not important game. That's not necessarily true. Worst case scenario is when you're close in a game that you should have won and you end up losing. And when it's close like that down the stretch, I can't sleep for hours afterwards, win or lose. But yeah, the Michigan basketball team should be in the Final Four now if they had just made 3 layups in the last 3 minutes that were wide open and they missed them. They missed like 3 free throws in the last 5 minutes. Had 3 chances to win it towards the buzzer and man, it did not work out. So yeah. And honestly, this is your only chance to really get to see me like this these days, because none of my sports teams do well. That I really care about, except for Michigan basketball. It is the one sports team that they still do really, really well. And I've really enjoyed them this season. I take a lot of solace in the fact that their best player was injured before the tournament and can't play. So like their high score has been out the whole tournament, and they've still been advancing all the way to the Elite Eight. So I'll take it for what it is. So yeah.
When was I supposed to start listening to your pain? Because
no, that wasn't for you. That was for the sampling of our audience that cared. I knew that wasn't for you.
You know what, Aaron? That's also for you. You need to talk about your pain.
Got to vent.
It's part of the healing process.
It is. It is tough to be like, well, let's just say to be my wife when I really care about sports. It's just
So I'll just have a silent moment for Jen.
So I apologize for getting so invested.
Tomorrow is the beginning of baseball season. So
yeah.
Yay for that. And,
but that's the other thing with my sports fandom too, is it only gets intense when it's like playoffs or important stuff. So yeah.
Jetsmet said that he had money on them to make it to the Final Four, and he feels you.
Yeah. I bet you do. I bet you do. They really should have won that game.
Yeah.
Really
so this morning, my husband starts off the day. Iris is in my lap. We're snuggling. It's morning time.
Mm-hmm.
Justin opens the door and he says, "It's Christmas Eve for baseball." and Iris is like, "It's Christmas." And I was like, "Dude,
Disney?
Words.
Words matter."
No. So we had to redirect her immediate excitement and confusion, try to explain to her how that works. So
Baseball Eve, Justin. Baseball Eve. That's all you have to say. Baseball Eve.
We had a chat about. So he loves baseball intensely. Mm-hmm. It's his one great love. When he was going through the weighing of options of things to enjoy in life, to pay attention to, and to be fully invested in,
right?
When it came down to it, baseball won over football. And so he's slowly been letting go of keeping up with all the football stats and watching all the games. And it's over the years just kind of gone on to the back burner, if at all. But baseball is his absolute love. He is the administrator for one of the most popular baseball groups on Facebook. For Fantasy World, they have like 2,000 active members or something. It's crazy. He was flown to California by Facebook to do a commercial for Facebook about his group. That's how popular his, and so he's constantly in there answering questions, and he's just so into it. So today he's so excited because he takes the first day of baseball off every single year. He gets fully into it. And today he is going to go buy a grill because he has convinced himself that this is the next level of baseball love. He's going to have a grill. He's going to have a nicer grill. The one we have is I would call it a starter one. You know, it was like $50 and was used.
Does it still work? Does it still work? Because
do you want it?
Because we need a grill.
Can you just come and take this grill?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Come over. Hey, I'll do the show. You get in the car. You come over. Get this.
You know what? My wife does our grilling out, and she would probably veto this because she wants a new grill too. So she wants.
I told Justin, I was like, babe, 2 years ago, I said, if you can prove that you can grill, then we'll get a grill. And so, because he didn't know how, but now he has mastered the entry level of grilling, and he's ready for the next level, which is apparently one that has an igniter switch. My husband, oh my God, turning on the grill. He is, so he's 6'5". He'll stand as far away as he can, and he'll stretch his arm all the way out with like the really long lighter, and he like ducks down, and he's like this, and then it goes poof, So yeah. Igniter switch. He's very excited.
So are we all in all of your vaccinated friends invited over for like baseball opening day grill time?
You'll have to talk to him. I don't know if he has if he wants to get into his personal baseball zone, and if friends coming over would break the vibe. Yes. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's true.
I think his answer would be like, yes, come over. Let's do this.
That's interesting.
But he's going to go grill shopping today. and we had a conversation about what he was looking for. And that was really interesting. He's like, I just want to grill. And I'm like, well, you need to have at least some idea of a plan. Like, when you're on the grilling aisle and there's, 15 options, how do you know which one you're looking for if you're just looking for any of them? So what's the goal? We know igniter switch is one. Do you want more burner space, or do you want to go with these what are they called? Enamel porcelain ones that apparently make your stuff taste better because of the way that it grills. You have decisions to make, Mr. Hughes.
We should do a double. We should do a double date, your husband and I should surprise my wife with a nice grill. Just like bring it home.
He's going today.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to purchase a barbecue grill today?
I am not. I am not prepared for that.
Well,
because when I buy stuff, I do so much research. I research for days. And
Matt says big green egg. We looked at those. I think we consider that the next level. So our plan right now was cheap grill for the elementary learning. Now he's kind of more in middle school, high school learning. When we get to college level, then we might get a fancy grill that does stuff that we don't even know that we need it to do. He doesn't. We do basic level grilling. We're not grill masters yet or ever. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's still learning. Things like little tricks of the trade. For example, that sometimes things fall apart and fall down into it, and you lose good meat because the slats are too wide, or the meat is too it's too fall off the bony already. I don't know how this.
Fall off the bony. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what people say.
Not
as opposed to tender or
tender.
Whatever.
Yeah. Fall off the bony, I think, is the right. That's what it is.
That's what the USDA calls it.
Hey, just real quick. I know we're kind of cash, but for those of you guys who are on Twitch, I know sometimes we do have bots that pop up. We're still trying to figure out we have some work to do on the back end of our Twitchy stuff. So please do not click on any links to become famous. Just don't. I always joke in my friends' chats that I go into on Twitch. Mm-hmm. I'm always like, oh, I want to be famous, and I'm going to click on it just for fun. But we don't have any bots set up for our Twitches. So please don't click on anything on Twitch. Okay.
Well, you ready to shoot a dough?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to do the DNA and U, D topic, A topic, and as many U topics as your little heart desires, or your big heart, is the case may be.
All the hearts.
All the hearts. So go ahead and get your U questions ready. If you have a topic, could be something going on in the world that you want us to talk about together, could be something that you've been thinking about that you want us to talk about, could just be a question you have for us. Whatever randomness you have in store for us, we will do during the U section. But we both have a topic to get to before we get there, unless Danae does such an amazing topic we don't get to mine again. But, but we've got time this morning. So Danae, what do you got?
Well, my topic should be pretty quick today because I just picked something simple. What grocery item has to be the best option because the cheaper brand just doesn't cut it?
Mm-hmm. It's a great question. We all have these things, right?
We have these things. Yeah. I'm realizing this in my own life. I think it's for me, like olive oil. I'm like, get the good olive oil because there's so much more flavor in it. And I really enjoy that. I recently was like, no, you know what? I'm going to get the best coffee. So I went to a local coffee shop where they, do their own beans, and all of their beans that they sell would have been in the roaster within a certain number of days from when it was roasted. So it's like super fresh. It was $17. I didn't realize it was going to be that expensive. I thought I was just going to be getting some coffee grounds. Mm-hmm. $17 for a little bag of coffee.
Wow.
I was like, okay, well, there goes my spending cash for the week. That was dumb. But I thought, you know what? This is going to taste so yummy. So I'm going to enjoy it. And maybe I'll just splurge on coffee. No, it doesn't taste any different to me at all. This is the last of my $17 coffee. And I told my husband, just get the cheap stuff at the store because I don't drink a ton of coffee. In fact, when you guys see me drink 1 cup every morning, or maybe like 1.5 cups every morning, that's all I drink. And some days I don't at all. So I'm going to go back to the cheapy stuff and just, I was fine before. And by cheapy stuff, I mean like just the flavorful brands at, the grocery store.
Sure.
I don't go all the way down to Folgers. I don't go all the way down to some of the older ones. So I do have some things that I'm like, I don't care. But man, for some reason, olive oil for me. Oh, and butter. I want the good, real, utter butter. I want the stuff that is so thick and delicious. Oh my gosh, it's so good on just toast. Even if it's just heated bread.
You want the better butter.
Butter on. Better butter. It's got to be
better butter. Makes a better batter.
It doesn't make the batter bitter.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Anyway.
Some good answers, and I have some as well, but let's go through some that people are popping into the chat. Lots of people saying toilet paper, 100%.
Oh my gosh.
Interesting one. I would have never thought of that. We get the generic toilet paper, yeah.
I was thinking food items, but that super works. You can interpret my question however you want.
Well, you said grocery items, and grocery stores are more than just food now. So
that's true.
Elizabeth says Pringles. I didn't even know there were generic Pringles. I've never had them, but that reminds me of one of mine, which is Oreos. I cannot do the generic Oreos. They're so different, like different to me. So, so I don't like those. Polly says Tostitos salsa con queso. Okay.
Man, we get our salsa from a local restaurant that makes it. It's just so freaking yummy.
JCD says my mom's head would explode at this question because she buys everything on sale / best value. That's definitely the home we grew up in. It was a big running joke at our house how all of our cereal boxes were plain white with black lettering and a big barcode on the front. Because you may not know this, our younger audience viewers, but generic food in the past was also generic packaging. Like a lot of the generic food now actually has like color and is, and the names are still generic or whatever, and it's a little toned down. But back in the day, it was literally a white box, bold black letters, and a barcode. And that was the entire packaging for all the generic stuff. And so that was our cupboard.
I love that though. I kind of love that. I don't mind. I've really found a lot of things I loved at even Aldi, just the lesser expensive, different version of like the grocery store that I grew up with. But,
right. Yeah, like cheap frozen burritos or ramen or like that kind of stuff. Yeah, get the generic stuff. Even cereal. I mean, I have cereals I like. So like a lot of the cereals I like don't have necessarily a generic version. You've got your generic Cheerios and Raisin Bran and those kind of things, but you don't have necessarily your generic Raisin Nut Bran or whatever the case may be. But yeah.
I just realized I haven't had breakfast yet.
Well, that was your fault for asking this question.
Lolly says, good bread. A lot of USA bread is too sweet. So much sugar and so much stuff.
Interesting.
I love good bread.
I love bread. Yeah.
There's a few local shops where we have some local bread places, and they'll take their like artisanal breads. They're so yummy. You just have to make sure you eat them faster.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I had to get used to whenever I get good, like a really good bread.
Miguel says, might sound weird, but saltine crackers. Some have no salt, some are too hard and almost stale. Some fall apart with no effort. I need a nice balanced ratio.
That's good.
It's awesome.
It's good. Your crackers.
Nick says Parmesan cheese. We get the good stuff because the cheap stuff is garbage. My wife and I used to have arguments about it, but even she prefers it now. We get the cheap stuff. That's interesting. Do you get you have to, what do you call it?
Grate?
You have to grate your own Parmesan, or do you get it pre-grated?
Sorry.
Just any food that's mentioned, Danae's going to make noises. That's just the morning we're in store for this morning. Also, do you pronounce it Parmesan or Parmesan?
Parmigiane.
Parmesan.
Parmesan. Parmigiane.
Parmesan? Am I going to get some Parmesan cheese?
Parmigiane.
Let's see. The other one I'll do this one by Diabetes first. You ever had cheap Alfredo sauce? Bad move, team.
That's a good.
I
saw that pop up and I almost bust up laughing because I'm just like, bad move. Bad move, fam. Don't do
Bad
it.
move, team. Bad move. My wife discovered, I'm going to say 10 years ago, a recipe for Alfredo sauce. So she makes homemade Alfredo sauce when we do like chicken Alfredo, chicken pasta Alfredo.
I freaking did it again. It's like completely unintentional. My body is telling me.
You're like you're like your husband right now when everybody mentions Chick-fil-A.
Anytime if you mention a good, yummy chicken sandwich to my husband, he can't help himself. I do want to bring up this one from Nick, who points out that regular toilet paper tastes so much better than bargain brand.
Listen, it's true. It's true. Just understand where you're in the cycle of the toilet paper. The toilet paper is.
And also, Nick says just for clarity, no grading. It's pre-graded. We say Parmesan.
I believe he means Jean, but yes. Or if you're in Philadelphia, it's John.
John.
Yeah.
No Clue says I get my coffee from a local roaster. It's also a major German coffee roaster, so not generic at all. But I get it because why buy coffee from a roaster that's further away? And I really like it. See, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
That is good stuff. And this one leads me into the one that's my biggest one. Lolly says, good jam. I don't need but cheap jam is icky. We only have homemade growing up, so I'm spoiled. Homemade strawberry jam is your jam? My jam. It is literally my jam.
And figuratively, your jam.
But that leads me to the one I was going to say, which is peanut butter. I have to get brand name peanut butter. I've tried the generic peanut butter. It is so gross to me. There's just something, the texture's off. The oiliness of it is off. It tastes like paste. But you get some of that good like Jif stuff, or you get some of the Peter Pan. Like I like both of those. But so peanut butter is a huge one for me. If you get, great value peanut butter, I'm out. I can't do it.
Have you had like the health store?
That's even worse than great value peanut butter for me. And I know a lot of people love it. It's okay. Organic stuff, I get the desire for it. I can't stand it. It tastes like it tastes like paper mush to me. So yeah.
Real maple syrup.
Legit.
That's another one.
Legit.
Real maple syrup.
Growing up in Michigan, you had a little more access to real maple syrup. Yeah.
It is expensive. And I was so bummed, actually. Let me tell you a sad story. We bought a big old thing. Well, my husband knows I like really expensive maple syrup. So we go to the health food store, we go get the really good stuff. I usually get the small thing, but my husband's like, I'm going to get the big one for her. But I don't use syrup very much. I don't have pancakes on the regular. I'll have, I use it sometimes in my cooking, but that's rare. So I started to notice that whenever I'd pour it out, the consistency of the pour was changing. Anyway, it turns out it was just molding completely. So I had to pour out. I had like a big jug, and this was not glass. I couldn't see into it. I just had this weird feeling because I poured it out and this dark spot kind of came out. And I was thinking back to all the times I felt it, like, when you pour liquid, all the liquid moves at once in the thing. But a couple times I felt it go chunk as I poured it. So I thought there was something in there. So I felt so weird about it, but I started pouring it out into a container. And then all of a sudden, this massive, like a massive petri dish of mold just fell out. Beautiful. And I felt like I had just done so wrong by this syrup because I didn't use it fast enough.
Mold is good for you. Mold
can be good for you in small quantities
and properly administered.
And I can say that confidently because I definitely had syrup out of that container multiple times in recent history, and I'm still here today, and I'm still okay.
And all your cuts were healing faster, and you had no idea what was going on.
I have started to grow a tail, so that's
interesting.
New. But it could have been my vaccination shot. We don't know.
You don't know. There is some discussion going on in the chat right now about how when you get used to something, how anything different Feels bad. Like there's a Talk JCD was saying it's the same with maple syrup. The real tastes off once you get used to like the sugar-free version. And somebody was saying that's the same with peanut butter. The place I most experience that is with milk and with the fat content of milk. So I started drinking skim milk a long time ago, and I cannot drink like even 0.5% milk, or it tastes like I'm just like eating butter. It's one of those things. So yeah.
Good stuff. We could talk about this for a long time, but I genuinely am afraid that we're not going to get to yours, Aaron. Like that what happened.
It's okay. It's only 9:30. We're good.
Okay.
I do like Archimedes Amazonas. We can finish with this. Is Big Mac a grocery item? What would be the generic version of a Big Mac? That is the question. We can move on to the topic if you're ready.
I just want to make sure you have time because we have skipped your topic, I think, almost twice in recent history.
It's only been once. It's the first time we've ever skipped a topic.
Okay.
Let us see. A topic. What's something you picked up again after a long hiatus?
What's a hiatus?
It's the opposite of a lowatus.
Oh, I thought it was opposite of
yeah, something that you used to love to do or just used to do went away out of your life for a while and you decided to pick it up again. And how did that go for you? I'd be interesting to hear those kind of stories. For me, riding my bike is something, it seems like every spring I have to deal with and go, okay, I haven't done this for several months because it's been cold. And all of a sudden my body's like, we didn't do this for a while. Why are you making me do this? This isn't fun. And then it takes like a month to kind of get back into it. So it kind of got me thinking about those like patterns in our lives that we develop and then lose and then develop again. So yeah. Any answers?
You know my answer, right?
I do.
Dungeons and Dragons. My current
that's true.
passion is Dungeons and Dragons. I am having the best time in my imagination. So I put it down. I mean, so long ago. I played a long, long time ago, and then I don't remember the beginning of it. Again, was me finding a critical role and then starting to listen and hearing like the rules and the gameplay and how things had changed and like realizing how popular it is and how there's such a big community around it. I talked about it on a podcast, which led to me being invited to join a brand new game that someone was playing. And so I thought I would just try it out, which led to me having new friendships, which led to me eventually starting my own game with these friends and then starting a new like adventure. We're in the very, very beginning stages of a new project called D&D Therapy, which will be for everyone, but like dungeon masters and gamers who just don't have a place to talk about their game and what it means to them, because it's such a nerdy topic and it's such a geek out thing. And there's so much of your imagination involved that talking about it is oftentimes like telling people your dreams, which I have been told multiple times is a terrible idea because people don't want to hear your dreams. But at the same time, I have really fantastical dreams and I want to share them. So you have to find the right people to kind of...
That's it. The audience. Yeah.
The audience needs to be there. So D&D isn't something that I can just nerd out about everywhere, but it is something that I put down for a very long time and then, did my normal life stuff. But it has taken up a really interesting part of my every week because I have a game to prepare for. As the leader of the game, I have a game to prepare for. And then I have other things that I do in the community where people ask questions. And so it's become my little side project, which I really have wanted. And I even tried to start a podcast that was just my own podcast. You can actually go subscribe to my failed individual podcast because it is out there. Episode 0 is just out there like, hey, I'll see you guys next time. There is no next time. Because I have so many ideas that it's hard for me to just like, unless I have a partner to work with, it's really hard for me to go to that next step. But in Dungeons and Dragons, not only is it focused, like I have a focused purpose to talk about, but I also have a community of people that want to continue that conversation. So yeah, I have had this resurgence of excitement for that.
Nice. Lots
Mhm.
of good ones in the chat. Let's see. JCD, I think this absolutely counts. Says recently got a copy of the original Roller Coaster Tycoon, and it's
Oh my
bringing back
gosh.
fond memories of playing that game as a kid.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
playing an old video game is like a time machine. It really is. It's so interesting to dive into like the original Super Mario Brothers or something like that and just be like, oh, okay, so I'm 10 years old again. That's cool. Um, yeah, I think that totally counts. Polly says both guitar playing and plastic model building. They are slowly coming back
Ooh.
as the kids get older, and my 10-year-old starts building models too.
Holly,
Uh,
I'm picking up my guitar too. That's why it's out.
yeah, there it is.
So I
I
can
do
actually go
think
grab it and play.
Polly mentions, your kids as well, and that does have an impact on kind of revisiting parts of your own youth and things that you enjoy doing because you want to pass on those memories and that fun to them. So yeah, that's a good one. Lolly says, my husband surprised me with an electric piano Christmas before last. So I'm trying to get back into music. That is a big one for a lot of people. There are many people I have heard, this is not my experience, although I did take a few piano lessons here and there, who like were forced to do like piano lessons like through growing up, and it was just like something they hated, but they did. And so then they get rid of it because, once they don't have to do it, they don't. And then like 15 years later, they're like, oh, I kind of want to, go back and do that. And so they pick it up again all this time later because it's now something that they get to find for themselves what it means to them and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting one. Did you have any you saw that you wanted
Oh
to
my
pop
gosh,
up there?
there's so many.
I can just keep going through them if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Let's see. Archimedes Amazonas says, I learned how to make sushi early in the pandemic and went a solid 6 months without doing it. And then it started again a few weeks back.
I've tried to make sushi before. It
Is,
it
is
takes
that is that just
patience.
synonymous just for going fishing? Like, what is it? This is just raw. You don't have to cook it, right? No, I know. There's a whole wrapping and seaweed with the rice and the stuff. I get it.
Yeah, the
I
rice
understand.
has to be the right consistency so it
Mhm.
sticks, and then you have to, like, be able to put tension in the rolls so that it all stays the same and evenness. It takes practice, a lot of practice.
Jetsmets says PC games. Around 2008, I left the PC gaming until about 2015, and somehow, thanks to mods, I'm still playing the same games from 2003. SimCity and NR 2003 are the games. Yeah, video games is a fun one. Nick has the same idea. I stopped playing video games for a long time, but we got the girls a Switch for Christmas 2 years ago, and now I play a lot more frequently. Zelda Breath of the Wild is addicting.
I can't
So,
wait. Justin really wants to get Iris into gaming. Um, she turns 4 next month, so she's still a little young, but he gave her the Wii, just a real simple Wii, remote, I think it was last weekend, and tried to put games where, like, like Wii Sports where she swings
mhm.
her hand. So she's getting used to it. But she literally will sit in front of my new gaming PC that I have, and I'll have Fall Guys up, and she'll just hold on to the player and pretend
Right,
like she's pushing,
right.
making him
That's what
go.
my
It's
boys do.
really cute. And she screams, "Go chickens, go!" So cute.
One of
Oh,
my
and
s
then whenever she crosses the finish line, she goes, "Qualify,"
I
because she sees other people do that.
that's
Devin.
fun. I definitely, what?
Nothing.
I definitely had an old man moment. You wanna hear an old man moment? Shall I tell a story?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
This was my son, one of my sons, got an extra, well, not an extra. He bought a PS5, brand new PlayStation 5, right? Which are
Okay.
still apparently hard to get. Like, that's ridiculous. I can't believe there's still a scarcity of PS5s. But he got one, but their apartment already has one. So he gave me his PS5 to hold on to until like he moves out or goes off to college or whatever he decides is the next chapter in his life. And so he came over and hooked it. Plus, I think he wanted one hooked up on our big amazing TV so he could come
Sure.
over and
I was like, "Okay, your television is the size of my wall."
well, and
This
it's also
this wall is how big his TV is.
that's an exaggeration, but it's also
Only
you know
slight.
it's also an OLED and brand new, and it does 120 frames per second, and like all these gaming stuff. Like it's a gaming mode, and so he's excited to play it on the TV, on the really nice TV as well. But so he has that over here, and I tried to play the Spider-Man game that comes with, or doesn't come with the PS5, but it was kind of released with the PS5, the new Spider-Man game. It's actually a Miles Morales game, and I just can't. I just can't. I don't have the brain ability to understand how the buttons are pushed to make the characters do stuff. I cannot figure out. Like I sat there for an hour trying to learn how to web sling, and I could not get it. I was like, I'm supposed to control 2 different dimensions of direction with my thumbs. Like one of them controls where I'm looking, and the other controls like where I'm moving. Like that's ridiculous. How is this even? Like, I want right and left, jump and shoot. That's all I need. How is that for an old man moment?
Bring me Mario.
That's right.
I want the old ones.
2D side scroller.
What was that? What was that one that was one of the first video games? And it was like a motorcycle that just went from lane to lane, like avoiding.
Excite Bike?
Excite Bike. Can you imagine Excite Fight on your TV and your son comes downstairs? You're like, hey, I finally figured it out. Come watch me play.
Found a game I can play. Watch this amazing game.
It's just you going, like going up and down.
No, legit. I am lost at the idea of controlling a character in 2 different ways. That loses me. Like the idea that you have to use one thumb to control like where you're looking and the other where you're moving. Blows my mind.
Play Fall Guys because it has that where you can change the camera angle while you're moving, and you really should, so that you can kind of see where you are on the map. I would love to see you play that game. Actually, you should come over, get the grill, okay, and then play Fall Guys.
Yeah,
because somebody needs to do more terribly at that game than I do. So
well, I will be your Fall Guy then on that. See, that's how you do wordplay. That is how you do wordplay. I kind of lost myself in the comments here, so if you see any that you want to pop up, you can definitely do that.
There's lots of video games mentioned.
Yeah, that seems to be a big one.
There's mentions of wanting to play D&D with Danae. Stay tuned for that. I'm working on some stuff. So,
well, also, if you want to watch us play D&D. If you want to force Aaron to play D&D and see what that looks like, we are just 7 members of Studio DNA away.
Here's Elizabeth writing. I've been writing on and off for years, but recently have been writing short stories and longer stories and poems. That's really good. I have a book that I picked up on an impulse. I was like, oh, this is interesting. When you're on radio every single day doing a show, you're constantly looking for show prep, things to talk about, important things. And so you'll go to the internet for articles and they'll inspire you to think about things. And, it's just this really interesting world. And so actually I have it right over here. Hold on. Okay. This is the
Something
book.
fell.
642 things to write about. Something did fall. That thing always falls. I really need to rearrange that. So it's essentially just all
it's
these
like a prompt.
prompts. Yeah. You want to see how much I did?
Sure.
None of it is totally empty. But I used it to try to think of like, oh, this would be interesting to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to say those prompts are often really great for shows too. Like you could use those for topics on the show and all kinds of fun stuff.
So maybe we'll go through these for some of our. Now that we're done with our Q&A, maybe we can go through some of these.
Yeah, that was an FAQ, friendship application question, but yes, I understand what you're saying. Let's see. Diabetes says reading books. I've heard people do that.
What is that?
I went about 11 years without reading a book. Yeah, I'm probably further than that. That's not true. I actually read a book just a couple weeks ago. But yeah, it's so good to be reading again, but there's never enough time in the day to read and never a good time to stop. Yeah, I've probably read the one book I read a couple weeks ago. I probably read a book a year, and it's generally because a friend wrote it. So
yeah,
that's generally what it is. Let's see.
JT says, this reminds me, I should look for a model of the Titanic to build. I need to get back into that because I remember as a kid, it was fun. I've been watching some people do model building on Twitch, which is, it's very interesting. You want to find somebody who you enjoy listening to because they're just dialoguing the entire time. But yeah, they'll take apart all the pieces, and
yeah,
it's so interesting. I would get very nervous about the glue part, but
Max says, I got back into pro wrestling in high school after my grandma passed away and ended up helping build my greatest friendship in college. That's awesome. Do you mean you are a pro wrestler or watching pro wrestling? I'm assuming watching pro wrestling, but if you are a pro wrestler, that's awesome as well.
And by pro wrestling, for those of us who are in WWE households, just some clarification on.
I think WWE is the only. I know there's other leagues, but I mean that style is the only understood professional wrestling. I don't know that there are actual professional wrestling leagues. There are like the Olympics and those kind of things, but I don't know that there are. I mean, I'm sure there are still adult wrestling competitions, but I'm assuming he means the show.
Oh,
wow. the entertainment.
Right.
Wrestling.
I would not be surprised if Iris becomes a WWE wrestler. I just wouldn't.
Well, as a friend,
I don't want her to because I'm concerned about her. I'm concerned about her.
Move away from that. Yes.
Her body in general.
I would move away from any high contact sport. That would just be me.
It's just my husband watches WWE, and my child and he wrestle, and I think it was just a couple of days ago. She comes in and towards me, and she tries to tackle me. And she's like, "Pile driver," and I'm like, "Oh no!" So that's just going to be my exciting thing. I get to be that mom.
Yeah. Well, you ready to head into some questions?
Let's do it. Yeah, guys. Shoot your questions at us. Any question goes. Just put a U before it so we can see it easily in the chat. We might not be able to answer your question, but we will try. You can ask anything you want. Anything goes.
Anything goes. Anything goes. That's the question story. Let's see. I think I saw one up here. You question, like Danae's podcast, what projects that you put aside do you wish were part of your daily life?
Oh, burn me in my gut. That's a good question, actually.
You know, what's interesting is what you are watching right now would have been the answer to this question as recently as a year ago, right? Like that's, it's kind of one of those things where Danae needs dog attention time, so I'll wait.
You're good. I'm listening. I can hear you.
Well, I know, but as a viewer of the show as well as a participator in the show, I see what's going on, and I know you want to give attention to your dogs. You want to do some dog stuff, and so that's
You'll
fine.
You'll be fine.
I know. I'm honoring the viewers.
You don't need me. You can do it all by yourself.
I'm honoring the viewers. If you want dog time, they probably want dog time.
I have to fix their ears.
That's fine. Do it. Go fix the ears. So what's really interesting is this show that we're doing right now is that kind of thing that for, a couple years it was put aside, and, now it is maybe not part of our daily life, but definitely a consistent part of our life again. And I think that's really honoring to think of the things that you love and make them a part of your life again as you can. So, that's kind of it's not exactly the answer to your question, but it kind of gets at the spirit of it. Danae, did you have an answer for that?
Oh, I've always wanted to be able to be consistent with something that comes out of my brain every day, whether it be podcast or blog. But because at this point in my life, because I'm still so partner oriented, I get just crippled when I'm by myself. I need a partner to kind of help to push me, and sometimes even just to sit down and go, okay, go, and just hang out. Grab your phone, you do something, but as long as I've got someone to help me stay kind of focused, which is not easy to do. I can't pay an assistant. I don't have a cool brother like the Slenderman in chat to show up and help keep me on track. But I would love to do a podcast every single day, even if it was just like a 15-minute thing that people could listen to. I think that'd be so fun, especially if it was just from my crazy brain that's just always different. But because I fail on projects, I don't get to do that. But that is something I wish I could release. Yeah.
Yep.
My failed podcast.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not taking it down. I'm not taking it off of the shelf because
that's the important thing.
It's still there. I didn't delete the feed. You can still you can go and look at it and say, oh, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah. This one's from Greg. Says, what is your most and least favorite texture? For those of you who don't know, Greg has mentioned that he is blind. And he even said earlier that if a blind man can make sushi, anyone can make sushi. So,
my favorite texture. Oh man,
this is easy for me.
I love bamboo sheets.
Bamboo sheets.
Yeah, bamboo fabric it's
never heard of this.
One of my favorite fabrics.
Interesting.
So I really enjoy that. Least favorite is when there is a solid with a slime cushion. So like in food, or for example, if you put it in your mouth and the first thing that you feel is the slime feel, and then there's a solid you have to break through, I don't like that. Now reverse it, if it's slime in the middle, like a gusher, I'm okay with that. But if it's a solid surrounded in slime, I'm not okay with that. So
yeah,
an example could be like a cottage cheese type of a thing where there's just enough slime that it's just, I don't know. So
my favorite texture is like raised dimples. I love running my fingers over just like small raised texture.
Like bubble pop, like bubble wrap?
No, bubble wrap's too big and too mushy for what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like
nipples.
Yes. But if they're tiny and there's millions of them, like on a piece of paper, like a tiny million nipples on a piece of paper.
Like Braille?
Yeah, but consistent. Like, yeah, just the idea of a texture that's
But what is this thing, right? Like,
well, you'll feel it on what non-slip mats will have it sometimes. Like, you'll feel it on different, sports balls sometimes will have that for grip. I love
the bottom of shoes, like shoe tread?
No, not at all. No. Not at all.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm trying to understand.
No, I'm trying to explain it, but yeah, but you're on the right track by saying Braille, but it's just organized Braille. It's just, lots and lots of raised, dots of varying sizes, works. Like Legos, right? Those are a little bigger than what I'm talking about, but like the top of Legos,
So my gift brain is like, what would I get Aaron that would make him so happy, right? Which is part of why I'm asking. So do you remember when, you get like a Lego set and it starts with the base that's just this massive square of those raised pieces?
Mm-hmm.
I'll just have to go to the Lego store and be like, I just want the base. It's just just the base, and then you can put it by your computer so you can just slowly pet it, as it is.
They have if you
just pet it.
Yeah, if you get the fidget dice, which I want some fidget dice. I don't know why I haven't bought them. There's usually a side that's like that
has
texture.
Those little bumps.
Mm-hmm. And there's something about it that like appeals to my fidgeting brain too.
Slenderman says like a basketball.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, like some sports balls have raised kind of thing. So yeah,
I missed that. Also, a question for has Danae never touched a basketball? I think like 4 times ever, and I completely forgot that that's texture. That's cool. Yeah. Now I know. I got you. I got it.
My least favorite texture is razor blades. Let's see. Diabetes says, do you ever watch music videos anymore? Or did you ever?
I
Yeah,
never really got
definitely.
into them.
I don't think I got into them, but I definitely watched them.
I just
There was a
don't.
time.
It's
Yeah.
partially though because of just you guys know me. I don't. My favorite entertainment that I found ever is Twitch. It's just watching people do what they love to do. And really bad reality TV, which is kind of Twitch in a way.
We used to have, this is not going to surprise many people who know me. We used to have a group that would come together and we would watch like the most popular music videos of the day, of the week or whatever, and we would talk about the messages and like what they're saying and what they mean and like what the song is trying to do beyond just being entertaining. Is there something it's trying to convey? Like, what are the deeper meanings, the deeper themes? So yeah, that's me. Hi, I'm Aaron.
That's me. I am Aaron.
Let's see. Miguel says, Tim Story, director of stuff like Ride Along and Tom and Jerry's, making a Monopoly movie starring Kevin Hart. Thoughts? I do have thoughts, but they are the same thoughts with most movies that are yet to be released, which is, okay, I'll watch it. Like, I'm so simple. I'll watch it and then I'll decide, what I think about it, how it could have been better, how it could have been worse, what I enjoyed, what I didn't. But I'm just not the guy that's like, this movie should never have been made, or they shouldn't have even tried to do this, or a Monopoly movie, that's crazy. Like, I don't have those opinions. Go for it. Make a movie about whatever you want, and then I'll make a decision about how I feel about it.
I always hope that they find a good way to tell a story. So instantly I think it would be funny if it was kind of like a repeat the same day over and over and over again movie, where these characters are realizing that they're on a board game and trying to find the meaning of life. Like, that'd be kind of fun. But if they're trying to make it make sense, the world of Monopoly exists for people to play, not for the things to be alive. So if they're going to try to do something like that, I hope they find a fun way to do it. But finding inspiration in the mundane to write about or do a movie about, that's something that's never going to stop. I just hope that people find fun ways of telling stories rather than getting caught up in it. Now, like, I will say there are some movies I'm nervous about because I'm invested. I'm not invested in Monopoly. I'm invested in Black Widow. Please, God. Please. Please, God. I'm nervous about that one.
You only got
that one makes me nervous. And then there's been other ones that I'm nervous about. Like when The Hobbit came out, I was like, okay, why are we going trilogy? Does it please,
right?
God? There's just these. I'm invested. Which is why I don't like getting invested in things, because then it brings up emotion, and I don't like emotion. So I don't watch a lot of things because I don't want to feel that stuff. I want to be happy.
So does this mean we can book you on Sif Pop for Black Widow week?
I'm super healthy. I have a super healthy understanding of emotions. You all know it. I know it.
Everybody's well aware of how good I am with emotions.
So good at it.
Let's see. JCD, you question, have you ever made a purchase you regretted almost immediately? An example for me is buying a copy of Every Which Way But Loose, and after watching it, regretted it immensely.
Yeah, my birthday purchase. I bought a desk for my birthday, and it was very expensive. But I broke a rule. We actually both forgot. My husband and I both forgot. He was my buying buddy. His goal was to make sure that when we left the store, we did not leave the store with an item, because the entire point of going into a store is for them to sell you on something. But then he caved, and I literally forgot the rule, literally out of my mind, completely gone. The goal was you go in, you look, you come back later, because it's going to be there later, and it's fine. I didn't do that. So I immediately regretted it. And I undid the purchase. And with the money from that desk, I then bought 5 other things. So, and yeah, I don't have the desk of my dreams. I have a really inexpensive one that I got for $180 that almost instantly didn't work for me. And then I have the kitchen table that we used to use, which was downstairs that I just moved upstairs, and that's going to work for now until I either build something that I want or find something that doesn't cost a ton.
I literally have kitchen tables for all my desks.
Yeah.
That is literally that's what I have in here. Is it? Well, it's the table it's a raised, but it's meant to be a raised kitchen table. Like that's what it's supposed to be. That's what I have in the other room. At the other computer is an old kitchen table, and it's just, I don't know.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's almost the same though, because I did buy a desk. What's it called? Like a movable, raisable desk that goes up and down.
Yeah, that was part of the desk that I got. It's like the ergonomic thing.
Yeah, standing. An adjustable standing desk, which is just like it goes on top of the table and moves up and down, and it just did not work. And I like it even before it got here. I was like, this is not going to work. And yeah, yes, that is definitely one for me.
Here's a question that's not actually a question, but I'll just throw it up there. Nick says, I just noticed the scrolling lower third on the screen. Has that always been there? We add it at the very end during the You questions so that everybody has a chance to see how to connect with us beyond the show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I can put another one on there if you want to.
Yeah, you definitely could. Archimedes Amazonas says, You question, when you buy tech or any kind of long-lasting gear, even kitchen stuff or tools or grills, do you go mid-range in price and features and replace them when it's time, or low-end in short-lived, or super high-end to make it last longer? It's a great question. I think I go mid-range towards high-end. I do prioritize how long is this going to last for me, especially with computers. I need to get 2 to 3 to 4 years out of my machines for me to feel like it's a worthy investment, because the price difference between a cheapo computer and a mid-range computer, and even some of the deals you'll find on some of the high ends, it's really not that much, considering the time, the extra time, hopefully, fingers crossed, if nothing goes wrong, that you'll get with them. So I'm on year 5 of my main machine, and that's, I've upgraded it. I've put in extra RAM, and I swapped out the video card last year. But yeah, that's what I look at long term. So I probably lean towards the high end, but not the super high end.
Yeah, I think we're the same. Me for sure. My husband would prefer to get cheap things, like even vacuum cleaners or something like that. He'll just get one that'll just break. But I just think about, like, okay, but if we get one that lasts 3 or 4 times as long, that's less stuff going to the landfill, all that stuff. Cause I do try to think about my impact, but, he's kind of changed his mind over the years, just because, there is something about quality, even in clothing and stuff sometimes, where if I can wash it for 10 years and it's not going to fall apart, I'll wear it for 10 years, because I don't want to buy things that I'm just going to hate later. So I do tend to think about getting the more expensive stuff, but I don't go crazy. I go for sales. So for example, like when I was getting a blender, we had never purchased a blender before, and there's tons of blenders out there, but I wanted to get a Blend Tech blender, or there's other, really high end ones, and they're really expensive. So I waited for there to be a sale, and then I bought one that was refurbished, so that it was on the higher end of what we wanted to spend, but still not like crazy the newest one. So I do try to find the middle ground, and then I just say you can kind of get the best of both worlds.
I have one exception to this rule, but before that, you mentioned blenders. Recently got a single serve blender, like a Magic Bullet, kind of thing. Changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. I make a fruit smoothie every day for myself for my afternoon snack. And so now, instead of eating a bunch of whatever calories I find for a snack, I'm having a couple hundred calories of fruit. It has absolutely changed my life to be able just to put it in a single serving cup and just have it. Like, it's incredible. So,
Matt, yeah. You know me. You know why I went for the Blend Tech blender. You know it was because of those videos.
They're not doing those anymore, are they?
I don't know. It's been a while. I haven't watched them in a long time.
The one exception that I will mention is cars. Because of the way the value of cars change, I am very much about buying cheapest point A to point B, driving it till it dies, and then getting another $1,000 cheapest point A to point B. Never going in debt for vehicles is just been glorious for us. And it works. And, my wife found an incredible car for like $1,500, and got it because it had hail damage, but it's going to drive for 7 years, and it's just like at least. So the cars is the one exception where I think you can get a lot of value out of going with the low end.
Here's Frank's question from Twitter. Do you ever answer questions from Twitter? Hi, Frank.
Yes, Frank.
We do. But you know what?
But
Twitter
not today. We're not going to answer any from Twitter today.
Most people join us from number one is Twitch. We have more viewers on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Then it goes YouTube. We have the next one's YouTube. Then Facebook, and then Twitter. So you're going to have to ask more questions to be seen because there's other people that are. It's just the way it is.
Why do you think number one is? I'm almost sure number one is YouTube.
Let's fight.
No. I just wondered if you had looked it up or something. Do you mean live?
Mm-hmm.
Or okay, that's possible. Yeah, I'd have to look up the stats.
Well, because we answer the questions live. So
yes, that is true. Let's see.
Scott says, yes, Danae, come on, Sif Pop for Black Widow. There's a really good chance I won't watch the movie.
Lock it in. I mean it's coming to Disney Plus.
I might have to watch it for my job eventually, but I don't know if I can actually go to the theater and watch this one. Or
this is why it needs to happen, though.
And because first of all, I don't want to go to the theater, maybe ever again. But if I was to rent it, I don't know. I love Scarlet. I love Black Widow. I love Marvel. I love her in those. Her on her own, I don't know.
She's not on her own, though. That's a great cast. She's got along with her. You are welcome, you and Justin, or you and whoever, to come over and watch the movie.
You're right. Have I looked up anything about this movie? No.
Jessman said, you have to drive from Boston, Massachusetts to Seattle, Washington out of the Sin team. Who would be your front seat and back seat on the trip? So I'm assuming is it
the entire team is going? Or is it just
That's a great question. I'm not sure. If it's the entire team,
well, for sure Aaron's going in the back.
Yeah.
Aaron is I've traveled a lot with Aaron over the last almost 10 years. And I'm
annoyed.
Actually, no. I might even prefer you in the front because I don't know how anyone else in the Sins team travels. I don't know how they are. I know how you are in the passenger seat. You are aware. If I needed help with navigation, you would put down whatever you're doing and jump in.
Sure. I may even help if you didn't even ask.
It's true. I've changed my mind. I don't know how anyone else travels. You know how people travel. You've been around the guys longer.
I've never really traveled with them though. If I were driving, I'd put Chris up front just because he's the tallest, and I know there's a little more leg room usually up front.
Oh, that's what if you're just assuming that this is the biggest vehicle ever?
No spatial problems whatsoever.
No spatial issues at all. A magical vehicle where you have head space and leg space.
I think I would want either Chris or Jeremy up front to control the tunes. I like their taste in music more than the others, I think. And so, yeah, I think that's what I do. If that were not an issue. Does that make sense?
They're joking around that you're going to be in the trunk.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah, I do think it's important to think of these things. Like, I instantly know people in my life I don't want in the front, but from the Sins teams, unfortunately, I haven't traveled with them, so I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But you said control tunes, but you forget that you can just do Wi-Fi control now. Like, you can just Bluetooth it. So even if someone's in the back, they can send music to the front.
Yeah.
So
if you got one of those fancy new vehicles, I just got done talking about how I buy the cheapo vehicles.
I know. Who's taller, Chris or Aaron?
What do you think, Danae? It's really close.
I think it's you.
I think maybe just or less
You're
than an
really
inch even.
close.
It's very, very close. But I think it is me by just a tad. I think he says he's 6'5". Does he say he's 6'5", or does he say he's 6'6"?
So.
I say I'm 6'6", but who knows?
On the information I keep about my Sins team, height is not one of them. I know their phone numbers and their addresses. I know their shirt sizes.
Shots fired at Barrett. Yeah, I guess I don't want Barrett controlling the music. I just don't. I just don't want Barrett controlling the music.
Barrett has a level of chaotic energy I don't know that I want in the front seat.
Let's see.
Is Barrett the shortest, though, Jets? Because now that I'm on the team, I'm probably the shortest. I'm pretty sure I'm the shortest. Or are you talking about the dudes, of the guys?
I believe Barrett is taller than you, but I could be wrong. It's not like it's. I don't know if you know this, but when we're together, which happens infrequently enough, especially recently, we don't spend our time standing back to back and measuring each other. That is not primary on our minds.
Oh my God.
Together.
I'm just imagining when we actually get to hang out again, which would be great. Fingers crossed it happens in 2021, but that we like go someplace where they have one of those measuring sticks by the door.
That's right. The fans want to know. It's so important for reasons.
We can do a lineup. That should be our next cool image for our team.
Ooh, like the usual suspects kind of lineup.
Yeah, let's do that.
That's
anyway.
I've thought we should do, since there's 6 of us, I've always thought we should do some sort of Friends takeoff with some sort of poster or that kind of thing. I mean, it would mean that 2 of us guys would have to take, the positions of 2 of the females, but that's fine with me. So yeah, just have to figure it out.
Well, with how you feel about nipples, I think.
Context today. Somebody just joining the show.
This is why you should try to pop in from the beginning of the show.
Well, with how you feel about nipples, Aaron.
How you feel. It was clever.
It was
super proud of myself.
No, it was great.
I was all super proud of myself.
I think that's going to wrap it up, though. Might as well.
We kill the show today.
Thank you for hanging out with us on a Sunday morning. We're always excited to do these. It is our goal. You need to know it is our goal to do this as much as possible. We do have lives to live and things that happen, but we for sure emphasize the Monday, getting on here, doing the Monday show, and then hopefully popping in on a few other mornings. In a beautiful, perfect world in the future, who knows? Maybe Monday through Friday we do this every single morning. That would be a blast. But we'll see how life progresses. So yeah, but we love having you around. Again, if you want to follow us, feel free to do that. Our Twitter handles are down below. You can subscribe on whatever platform you use. If you are a Twitch user, whether you're watching on Danae's Twitch or my Twitch, feel free to throw that free sub our way, whichever one you like to watch on. And if you are watching in other places as well, make sure you hit the alert bell so you know when we go live, so you don't miss a someday broadcast. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And thanks to our Team DNA members. Thank you so much. We appreciate you again. 6 people away from the next big thing with the Team DNA members, where we will do some live Dungeons and Dragons.
It'll be fun
for you. So that'll be fun. But 6 more members at $5 a month will get us there. Yeah, love you guys. We'll catch you on the next Monday or someday.